Well, first of all, name's Alan Bishop, as I was introduced. Not nearly as proficient as Mr. Hawley professed there on my introduction. So I've got a lot to show you today. The subject, as he said, is ATV, but there's a little bit more to it as well. I have a PowerPoint I'll present. My first question is, how long do I have? So I can kind of time everything.
Uh, we these usually go 30 minutes to an hour, depending how as long as you need.
Okay, 30 to an hour is fine. I'll leave plenty of time for Q&A at the end. So, as I was introduced, I'm the board chair for BCARES, Boulder County Amateur Radio Emergency Services, and been with this organization now for 17 years, and most of that as chair and EC emergency coordinator for ARES for Boulder County and Broomfield County. One of the things that we have is I'm going to hold on just a second. I'm going to go take care of. I'm going to go euthanize my dog. Okay, back again. My
Hey, Alan,
apologies.
we're seeing presenter
Okay,
mode on your screen. Uh,
I'm sorry.
we're seeing the
Jake.
presenter mode screen.
Oh, let me change that to. How's that?
There it is. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. Yeah, since so, one of the things that we have, I always start my presentation with a reality check. One of the frustrations over the past probably 10 years is the fact that our membership, we're at 43 members right now. 43 of the, well, let's say 41 of those are deployable. The others are deplorable. So kind of throw that as a kind of a funny out there. The other thing that's unique about BCARES is our average age. We're getting kind of long in the tooth, and as a result, we lose the number of people that can actually deploy or want to deploy. As any volunteer organization goes, 10% of the people do 90% of the work. That's not a complaint. That's just reality, whether you're Red Cross, ARES, or any other volunteer organization. So one of the things we're on is a campaign to recruit, and we're doing that through STEM programs at the high school and junior high level. And we're doing, we sit in and bring advertising materials to test amateur radio tests. And when someone gets their license, and we kind of pounce on them and convince them to join us. And it has worked very well. So having said that, the next step that I introduced is broadening the technology curve. We can't keep our partners, our served agencies interested in us and backing us if we don't offer solutions that they need or solutions that they aren't quite sure they need, but we can demonstrate. And so over the past several years, we've really focused on ATV, amateur television, but we've migrated from slow scan to analog, which we used to do at the ball games, the football games at Boulder, and a number of other areas, which you'll see in the presentation. We have since, over the past, I'd say 3 years, upgraded to digital TV, high definition, broadcast over the amateur radio bands, 70 centimeter in particular, 2 meter, and 1.2 gigahertz. And we're also playing in the 5.8 gigahertz spectrum as well. So what we have done is we've made ourselves in indispensable to Boulder and Broomfield County. Video mobile units or any mobile command post or incident command, and provide them live situational awareness, overwatch, etc. I've been with the Boulder Sheriff's Office for 15 years now. And on the SWAT team, I provide drone and robot support and video communications overwatch that you'll see here in the presentation. These are indispensable capabilities that counties, law enforcement, first responders typically either can't afford or are not knowledgeable to do it. And so what you're going to see today are a number of different applications. I've got a drone in here. We'll take the drone video, broadcast it over ATV. I have cameras, which will broadcast over a HDMI 5.8 gigahertz link that I've tested to 20 miles line of sight. And the ATV, we've tested from NCAR in Boulder, National Center for Atmospheric Research up on the foothill. And we broadcast live to Cheyenne, or right at the border of Wyoming and Colorado. Line of sight, full definition video. And so we have some remarkable technologies. And these are not overly expensive. We pay for these things ourselves. We'll be going for some grant money at the first of the year to help upgrade some of our repeaters and things of that nature. So with that, I'll start the presentation with this was out at NDMS, out at Centennial Airport. We get invited at times to go out there and participate in a mass casualty exercise. This is those of you familiar with me and my mobile tower. We set that up to provide video, live video stream. On the left is triage. We provided a camera there so that incident command could monitor the volume of patients going in and out. On the right side, we provided 3 different cameras for the flight line, arrivals, departures, and then loading and unloading. These are actors that came in on a C-130. And then we go to the Flatirons fire. We were at NCAR up at the top and broadcasting live video from the fire that had started right at the top of the Flatirons. The camera going out the window here and some of the equipment that we developed for portable video capability. I'm a certified pilot, both real manned aircraft as well as Par 107 drone or UAV capability. So as many of you may be aware, there's technology that counties are starting to incorporate, and that is lightning detection. And what's great about that is when we get a call to go out with a drone for an agency, this is Golden, that was great, Granite Peak. They had 3 lightning strikes and they called us out, gave us the GPS coordinates, and I flew to it. And down here at the bottom, you'll see the fire burning at the bottom base of a tree. So this was provided in real time, and we gave them safe route in for the ground crews that went in and put these fires out before they could actually spread. Again, these are tools that we provide through communications. Here's another NDMS. This is 2012. We're providing live video, loading of patients or evacuation into Blackhawk at Centennial Airport. And then we provided a 4-plex, 4 live videos of the flight line, departures, arrivals, triage, etc. And this is a hazmat exercise in Boulder at the Boulder County Fairgrounds. Again, we provide using the tower and with 70 centimeter capability, broadcasting live back to the EOC and then up on the big screens inside. And again, we provide whatever video that they're requesting that we can provide in a safe environment. That's what we do. So, amateur radio service, BCARES, our technical contributions that we ensure our survivability and need by the county or our served agency or fires. Overwatch, we man every shelter, providing information on logistics, how many males, how many females, how many families, how many children under 18, medical requirements, food requirements, sanitation requirements. These are all communicated through WinLink, through our text capability back to the EOC. We support the ESF, those familiar with emergency service functions or support functions. ESF2, we are ESF2 communications. They actually gave us a designation of ESF2A for ham radio or emergency communications. We do ESF5 for situation awareness, ESF6, and that's for shelters, and then ESF12 for law enforcement, public safety. The floods, as I showed you, we provide flight line situational awareness. This was at the Boulder Airport, which I'll show you shortly. SWAT, Overwatch, situation awareness, video documentation, accidents, actual arrest or activity relative to the SWAT call out. And then, of course, search and rescue and recovery, UAS video relay. I'll be demonstrating that to you here shortly as well. So here's the fire, 4 Mile fire. We set up on Magnolia Overwatch. I and my partner were inside doing Overwatch with video, providing live video. We received a citation for saving 3 homes and a family. We were watching the 4 Mile fire, and there were 3 multi-million-dollar homes on a ridge, real close to one another. The middle one had the family's father up on the roof trying to water down his house with a garden hose, which was absurd. But his family's standing outside, and we noticed fire and smoke coming up the north side of the ridge, and the wind was blowing 40 miles an hour, sustained, gusting to 50 from west to east. So we kept the camera on it, zoomed in on, and we saw the fire crest and start moving down the ridge towards the 3 homes. So we provided this live feed to the EOC. They were working with Incident Command on a number of helicopters, Blackhawks, a Chinook, and other emergency helicopter capabilities out of various locations. We were able to redirect or have them redirect a fully loaded Blackhawk with his bag of water to the ridge. He dropped half of it directly on the fire and the other half on the path that the fire was going to take. Meanwhile, they were able to dispatch 3 trucks, type 1, type 2s, and rescue the people, get them out of there, and we save the homes. So that's just another example of the things that we can do as a technology provider. This is the Boulder flood, 2013. We had 3 cameras up on the roof. This is BCARES on the top. One camera was doing departures, the other doing arrivals. This was the arrival picture here, image, video. And then we had a 3rd camera on the flight line. And there were 23 aircraft at any one time on the flight line. Basically, FEMA took over the airport, and that's where all evacs and emergency service deliveries were done. And we received another citation for saving a person's life who needed oxygen. Up in the Lyons area, the development was isolated because the bridge washed out to their location. And so the gentleman there needed oxygen to sustain his life. He was that bad. He had bottles, but they were running low. So we were able to direct a Blackhawk to go in and actually lower a number of oxygen bottles to sustain him until he could be evacuated. This is amateur radio service in the days of 420 at CU. We provided situational awareness while everybody was smoking down below, and we were deployed with 4 cameras. CU football. This is Incident Command in the tower at CU above the stadium. Yours truly manning the network for the video. Same here, different picture. We monitor the crowds, we monitor the entrances, and whenever there's an arrest, we documented it with our video cameras for them, and then provided the memory chips for use if any of those issues went to any kind of litigation. This is, those of you familiar or not familiar, after 4 Mile, it was a near disaster there. People were listening to rumors, and the rumors were, well, go up the canyon to evacuate, and others said, no, go down the canyon. Well, the problem is if they went down the canyon, they would have run into a wall of fire. And so the proper evacuation was west up the canyon. So here's the problem. All communication goes out. Whenever there's a fire, including Marshall, they cut off power intentionally in the mountains. And that's to keep power lines from blowing down, especially when there's high winds. So there was no communications. So as a result, it was coincidental that the FCC was requiring all commercial operators to go to narrowband from wideband radios. That obsoleted about 175 radios by Boulder County Sheriff. So I went to Sheriff Pelley and I said, "What are you going to do with those?" And he says, "Well, we're going to have the jail inmates get sledgehammers and smash them." I said, "Well, I'd like to take them." And I explained to him that our plan was take these wideband because they were perfectly legal on the amateur spectrum. I said, I'd like to take those, offer training to all the mountain communities to get their ham radio technician licenses. Those that pass would give them a radio with the batteries and charger and put in a repeater, several repeaters, which we did. Nederland, Gold Hill, Allen's Park Fire Station, Lyons, and Estes Park all support the MERN, Mountain Emergency Radio Network. 52 people took us up on it, got their licenses within 8 months. And now we have a network that has been called up numerous times to provide communications when all else is down, including cell, internet, and landlines. High definition television. Yes, we're finally getting to the topic. These are plots done by Jim Andrews, who's sort of the guru for HTV. This is the coverage that we can do from various locations in the foothills out to the east and up certain canyons and hitting peaks. So now we're at the point of a demonstration. So that was one of my problems was getting a camera that I could actually mobilize. So I'm going to do that now and go over to there. So let me disconnect this. There we go. Okay. All right. So it looks like everybody can see me, I assume.
Yep.
And hear me?
Yep.
Just to confirm? Okay. The first thing we're going to do is ATV, since that's what this really subject matter is about. So I will, this is the magic box. I built 5 of these. This is my personal one, but this is exact replica of what I built for the BTR's EOC in mobile capability. So what this is a box that contains the transmitter provided by Jim Andrews. He builds these and sells them. A modulator that takes the video HDMI signal, modulates it with the transmitter on a specific frequency. And the frequency display is the inside, which I'll show in a second. It has a place for the camera, which we'll set up. And that's what I'm going to do right at the moment. A switch for power control, and then a meter. PowerWorks shows volts, amps, watts consumption rate. It has a 12 amp hour battery underneath all of that. That'll run for about 6 hours, and then we can do an external. This is a 20 amp hour lithium, and it can go to a port here on the side, which has Anderson power pole. And the other side has the video HDMI inputs. You see here, with a monitor out to take a look at those if you want to see what you're actually broadcasting. So to make this work, this up, and I think that's pretty good. So we're going to use internal power, master power on, transmitter on, modulator on, And then I have a splitter in here so I can do a monitor as well. Cam doesn't need power, but it's available, if you want to power the camera through a power online. And right now I'm going to, put a local antenna on. This is a tri-bander. We'll be broadcasting in 70 centimeter, 423 megahertz. And here is our camera. HDMI cable to the camera. Put it on a little tripod here. And this is designed to go on a large tripod out on deployment. Whatever we're particularly doing at the time or providing information on. So just point that here at yours truly. Yeah, this is, we're waiting for this to come up. Also, we have these $50 cable boxes. And they're set up for 4 channels, channel 57, 58, 59, and 60. Again, those are each 70 centimeter frequencies of 423, 429, 435, and 441. Right now, this is set for channel 57, 423. And as soon as this comes up and just showing you what's going on here, we've got, I don't know if it'll show up or not. There we go. So it's 13.9 volts. I'm running 2.4 watts. This transmitter has 3 power settings, 0.3 watts, 1 watt, and 3 watts. We're working here inside the my basement bunker. So we'll run at the 0.3 watts. And it takes a couple seconds for everything to set up, modulate, and then channel 57 we're on. This will come up here in a second. And what you're going to see is up on the main screen. Okay, we're transmitting and it should sync up here and there we go. So this is yours truly. Hello. Broadcasting from the box. Get back here a little out of the way. So we're going from the mobile box, 70 centimeters, to the standard cable box that's been reprogrammed for these frequencies, which is a real nice feature of this particular box. You have a remote control you can use with it and program it to any frequency that you like. So this is one example. Camera's pointing back at my ham shack, and this is the video that we're working with. And again, capability. With these cameras, they're Handycams by Sony. Tremendous zoom capability. So when we're out and deployed, get something a little more tangible here. 35:1 zoom capability. So when we're out on deployment, we need to zoom in on a particular subject, whether that's a fire, a flood, SWAT call, or any other emergency, search and rescue. We have the ability to basically provide whatever the incident commander wants as a service. Now, sometimes we end up in a situation, because everything really is line of sight, especially at these higher frequencies. So let me set up the next part of the demonstration. So a lot of times we end up with the necessity to go long distances. That's the nature of the beast of Boulder County. It's a large county, and most of you are in large areas as well. And so what I'm going to show you now is this is a HDMI video link. That's a Ubiquiti network, and I tested this to 25 miles line of sight. And still had plenty of signal strength left, so my guess is we could go about 30 miles with this. We have over here on the left is the slave and the master on the right. The master goes to this laptop right now. Now, for this part of the demonstration, I'm going to be showing and using a drone that we use for our search and rescue, SWAT calls, and basically anything that necessitates an aerial video reconnaissance. And you'll see the drones coming up. It takes a little bit to get it up and running. And this is a thermal plus color high definition drone, runs about $8,000. And it's a high res thermal, which you'll see the capability here in a second. Okay, this is the controller for the drone. There's a monitor on top and then the control panel at the bottom. And so we're going into the first unit, which is the source. And we should have, I'm going to take the big screen TV and go into monitor. Okay, there's the link. So now we have the live drone footage coming from the drone camera. And I'll bring that drone camera up a little bit. So that's the color side, and we can go to infrared or thermal. And here's truly with a hot face. And so, and then this particular drone, we can do a split, so we can show both side by side thermal plus color high definition. This becomes very important on fire support. So we can show a thermal image of where the hot spots are and then overlay that with color. This is all recorded automatically if you like, and it records both sides through the drone. So this is the technology that we provide. We also get into larger drones, which you can see from here. That's a S1000 from DJI. It'll lift 20 pounds, fly for about a half an hour. And we drop things like food, water, radios on a search and rescue mission, which we've done several times. First aid kits, like I said, a radio or a cell phone, bottled water, anything that's necessary that falls within a 20-pound capability, maximum payload. So go back to yours truly. And at this point, So there's a lot there to kind of digest. It's a fun thing to do because it's a technology that we can deploy economically, quickly, mobilely, and provide the services to our served agencies in both the EOCs, incident command, and other elements that may be deployed for a given emergency or situation. So let's see, I've yacked for about 20, 30 minutes. At this point, I'll leave everything running. If you have any questions, I guess now's a good time to ask them.
Since you're running high def television, how much bandwidth do you use, particularly on the 42440? Do you use the entire 6 megahertz, or does that compress somehow?
So the system has the ability to choose 6, 7, or 8 for the bandwidth. We set it at 6 because we're using the majority of that at that frequency. When we do 5.8, well, we'll run that up to 8. A much broader bandwidth, but the quality and everything is really the same. We cut the frame rates down. You don't have to run 60 frames, 30 frames. We run them typically 15. The eye doesn't distinguish any hesitation or image shutter at 15. You get down to 10 frames, then you start getting a little bit of hesitation, which ends up not being very usable. So typically 15 to 20 frames. We don't go to 30 or 60 because we don't want to consume that amount of bandwidth. So 5.8, 2.4, 400 megahertz, 1.2 gigahertz, where we do that as well. We have transmitters for that. So what you're seeing right now is 6,000. Any other questions?
What codecs are you using? Are you using any form of video compression that's like digital in nature?
Yeah, that's in Jim Andrews' arena. On the link here, I'm using, let me go over here and just bring that up real quick. It's actually going to run this one. We're using the VLC media. So we use VLC for the video interface from the Ubiquiti 5.8 gigahertz link. And then we're using standard European protocols for the mobile ATV unit, COM protocol, if you're familiar with that. Jim Andrews has a website that is extraordinary with information. He does a newsletter on ATV as well. He's known worldwide. In fact, when we broadcast, we have the ability to go on the internet and provide the video link live. Literally, when the Marshall Fire was going, we provided video links that were broadcast all over the world. There were several hundred logins watching the fire and support that was provided via BCARES video.
Could you give us that website one more time?
Yep. Let's see.
Is this thing on?
Yep. Hold on a second. I'll get it for you here. You'd think I'd memorized it by now, but KH6HTV, Kilo Hotel 6 Hotel Tango Victor. And his email is the same at gmail.com. So he's and his newsletter, TV Repeater Report, is also available online and free to anybody that wants to have it. And it's very detailed. It's many pages, 10. I mean, it's, I always kid them. I say it's approaching QST in volume and content without the advertising. So it's very, very informative document, and his website as well. And
I guess if you've got all the data there, I don't want to rush you, Alan.
oh, no problem.
Okay. Doug, K2AD, at the mic. I just wanted to thank you for sharing this with us. I knew you had done a lot in this area, but I didn't realize you've done this much. This is very impressive. The fact that you're on amateur TV and you've picked a very good 431 megahertz, or 421, you said, megahertz frequency.
423 for this broadcast.
423, that's good, because that puts this 6 megahertz wide signal way down low in the band and won't interfere with other things.
Exactly.
And then if you have to, you can go up, like if you were to use that 441, you're going to be putting that right on top of your own voice repeaters and others. And you're obviously very responsible with that so that we don't interfere. Because if we're in an emergency, we don't want to be jamming each other. So that's really good.
Exactly.
And the fact that you're going to 5 gigs, we got plenty of spectrum. There's a lot of interference mitigation up there on the protocols. Huge strides you guys have made in the last decade. So I just wanted to comment, you did use the term broadcast a number of times, and as hams, we never broadcast, we communicate, and I'm sure that's what you meant. But for the newer, younger hams here in the room, we don't broadcast because that's prohibited.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
And he's saying,
Yeah, bad choice of words on my part.
Adrian here is saying, "Yep, I know." So, I guess the only question is, how do we identify a digital TV? Is there a field and bits in there, like CBS can say, I'm not really CBS 4, I'm on channel 35, and that's part of the protocol. Can we put our call sign in there, or do you have to hold up the little card that I noticed you had? Yeah, there. Is that how we identify?
This is the more
maintain
practical
legality?
one. No, but we can, we put the banner up as well
Okay.
during our transmission. That's programmed into each box.
So we
This is my personal box, so I haven't done that yet.
Yeah. So we transmit a banner. We can't put bits like in a packet. We put a header in there that says K2AD. We do it through a banner. That's
correct.
great.
The banner off the camera.
Very impressive. Thank you. Thank you, Alan.
The last thing we're going to be doing, just to let everybody know, we're waiting on a grant to help facilitate this, and as a voice over IP. And we've chatted with you and other partners on the RMHAM backbone. And we've demonstrated that we have a system now that's done, packaged, and can be deployed. And essentially, for those that are of my age group, we remember the days of the Cold War, and there was a hot phone between the White House and the Kremlin. So this is the same concept. If we had a grid failure that was state or nationwide or large regional area, and we lost internet communications, and I'll give you a scary quote I got from the Boulder County radio office. I asked the question, if we had a grid failure statewide, how long would the VHF and 800 trunk, 700 trunk systems in Boulder County operate? 12 hours. That means at the end of 12 hours, there's no intra communications between public safety vehicles, law enforcement vehicles, because the repeaters will all be down. And there's no facility to keep them maintained. Even though we have generators at the EOC, most of the field locations do not have generators. And so they'd be running off backup batteries, and the capability is about 12 hours. So one of the things that we've designed and we want to deploy with the help of Rocky Mountain Ham and other organizations is put a phone, digital phone, in each of the EOCs in the state, or at least starting off with the Front Range. these would, we have a free, freeware telephone system that allows conferencing, messaging, voicemail, and we can connect up to about 10 or 12 for a conference call, and through the 5.8 gigahertz bandwidth. And occasionally, if necessary, we could also pump a video through, but that's an exception rather than normal operation. This means that each EOC would have its own telephone number, 3-digit number. And we've demonstrated this to Longmont EOC, Boulder EOC, City of Boulder, CU, and Gilpin County, and so on. And which means that the incident command, or more importantly, the Office of Emergency Manager, can pick up the phone, dial 00, and get the Boulder EOC if they're calling from some other EOC. And this is a project that we would like to implement starting the beginning of 2024. So there'll be more information coming out, more coordination obviously is necessary, and I'll be working with all the folks that we need to work with to make that happen.
Any plans to expand outside of the Boulder County area?
In what respect? The voice over IP?
No, the video capability.
Oh, yes. Right now I'm negotiating with the City of Boulder. They have a tower up on Legion Hill, which overlooks all of Boulder County. It's an excellent radio site. They have a tower there and repeaters that support the City of Boulder. So we're making a pitch to them to put a video repeater there. We're having problems with noise up on NCAR. We're not sure if it's coming from NCAR or down below at the government facilities. They kind of won't tell us. So we're looking for the new home to actually be better than NCAR. NCAR is backed up against the Flatirons, and so we have a problem going west into the foothills. So we're going to back away and then transmit into the foothills and accomplish our services that way. So these repeaters are 19-inch rack, 3 feet tall. We have a mobile one as well, which we can deploy in a mobile environment if necessary. But one of the things we want to do is work with all of our brothers and sisters and areas along the Front Range and get this deployed. The box that I showed you, this box right here, is with the transmitter, with everything you see in it, battery, except the camera. You got to kind of go figure out what camera you want. We recommend the Handycam. But without a camera, this is about $900 complete. And that's installed in the box, the switches, the battery, the power monitor, and everything else that's associated with it. This obviously repeaters cost a bit more, so but that can be all bill of materials priced out. And a lot of agencies, organizations rather, you have your own capability, your own radios, etc. What you need is just the video interface technology, which is readily available from BCares. And I gave a presentation to the Boulder County Sheriff Johnson, CJ, Sheriff Johnson, and the staff at the EOC, Office of Disaster Management. They changed their name from EOC, OEM to ODM after Marshall Fire. And they were just blown away. So we're getting a funding from the Sheriff's Office to deploy some of this video stuff, and also help in getting negotiations with the City of Boulder accomplished so we can add on to their tower. And so this goes back to my earlier statement when I began the presentation. Amateur radio isn't going to be able to exist unless it has some functionality that becomes immeasurable and absolutely necessary to serve agencies in the emergency spectrum. They're already going after elements of our spectrum, and it's going to continue to happen. Everybody from the investment community in New York wants to have access to frequency band so that they can trade faster, quicker, and they're coming after our frequencies. That's current right now. The other thing is, if you want to have Aries maintain usability, necessity in the view of the served agency, we got to offer more than we did in the past. If we don't do that, then we become the dial telephone, and nobody wants a dial telephone. So we have to look at these technologies, and and I get a little pushback at times from the more senior ham radio folks that, well, you're not using just ham radio technology. You're using Ubiquiti wireless, and you're using dishes, and you're using this and that. Well, that's true, but it's called COTS, commercial off the shelf. What we do, we as amateur radio specialists, is we take off the shelf stuff and we reintegrate it to create a better solution, which cannot typically be done by our served agencies. They're not educated in it. They don't have the funding for it, and they actually don't know what they don't know. So our obligation, from my perspective, and that's how I've run BCares now for 15 years, is we have to keep pace with technology, bring it to bear as a solution, show that it's economical, deployable, and serves a specific need that they can't run without. And if anything ever happened to Aries or BCares, Boulder County would be really upset. And that's from Mike Shard, the director of ODM at Boulder. Any other comments, questions that I could address?
This is N5WMS, John.
Yes, sir.
Have they ever thought about going and upgrading some of the stuff to having solar generators put in to manage the grid if it went down?
Yes, that's an active discussion, and part of the budget going into 2024 for Boulder County is to get generators and solar technology deployed with battery. You need to run repeaters takes a fair amount of power, and so you need basically like a Tesla wall. Well, they run $40,000 to $60,000, and then you have to consider the solar panels that charge it during the daytime. And so the second problem is, if you're running generators, I have a generator in my house, it's tri-fuel. I can run on the home gas, or I can run on propane, or I can run on gasoline. Here's the problem, and I suspect it's the same problem that Rocky Mountain Ham has with the backbone. If you have generators that run on diesel or gas, well, that's a limited fuel tank, limited runtime. So what we have, and I'll pass this on to you as consideration, I've negotiated with the city and, the county of Boulder, and specifically the sheriff's office. Our repeaters have generators, and we are on the priority fuel list. So as our generators start to run low, we can acquire our jerry cans and have them filled at the depots that the county owns, so we can replenish our own fuel. And we're on that list. We are on the same list that provides fuel to the EOC, to hospitals, communication centers, and so on. You need to negotiate and get on those priority lists so that not if, but when the grid goes down for a sustained period of time, you're able to maintain the very services that you're basically hired for or contracted for through MOUs. Put it in the MOU and get the county to sign off on the MOU. We've done that, and that's how we maintain our survivability. If the moment they can't provide us with power, it's a disaster beyond scope. So as long as we can get fuel in gross amounts with tankers and then distribute that out to maintain the emergency network, then we'll be okay. And let me point out something else that I will, I think, make you take note. I have been privileged to, as a subject matter expert on interoperability in drones, I've been invited to do the risk management meetings at FEMA Region 8, which is our region, annual headquarters risk management meeting. The last one I did, which was a year and a half ago, I also had a lot of questions regarding survivability and around the grid. And then they had a presentation before mine where they were very proud of themselves, FEMA. And we have ample shelters when the grid goes down. So we're going to, of course, mandate people shelter in place, stay in your homes because that's your shelter. You may not have power, but you have shelter. And I then said, well, I've done some research when I did my part of the presentation, and I said, I'd like to address your shelter numbers because you're grossly underestimating your need. And of course, the person that led the presentation said, well, could you explain that, please? And I said, yeah. I said, the thing that you haven't considered, and most people don't consider, is that when the grid goes down, you may have water treatment plants with generator backup. But the problem is on any resident location that's below grade, they use uplift stations to take the sewage from the house out to the street and then upload it, pump it to the facilities that process the waste. Well, I did some research. Denver has generator backup for many of its uplift stations. Boulder does not. I don't believe any of the other counties do as well. Here's the problem. Any house that's below grade, the estimate, according to the wastewater people in Lafayette, in about 72 to 120 hours, sewage is going to start backing up. And one of the things that I've been fighting for about 2 years now with the building codes with the county is I want building codes to require a ball valve on the sewage line just outside or just inside the basement or the dwelling. Because the amount of pressure that's going to come is going to force sewage up into your lower basement, the toilets, the bathtub, the sinks. And once you have raw sewage backed up into the basement of a house, that house becomes unlivable. And those people need to go to a shelter. Well, when I said all that and explained it, that you could have heard a pin drop, and there was 700 people in this meeting out in the audience. It was in a large facility. And then they started whispering in each other's ears. And the person who led the conference, he goes, holy expletive. We missed that one. And it's true. So if you want, don't use a knife valve, use a ball valve because you need the pressure capability. Knife valves don't do that. So you have to kind of look at your own home and see if you have pipes that go down through the concrete and out to the street. It's hard to get a ball valve to cover those if they go straight to a tub or something like that. So you may have to go outside and dig down to the main line, the 4-inch or 6-inch, depending what you have, and install a ball valve in a casing there that you can lift the lid off and go down inside and turn the ball valve on or off. Just something to kind of make your day and pray that we don't lose grid power for any sustained period of time. It's going to be messy for those that have houses below grade. Now that I've made your day and can't wait for breakfast, any other questions, issues I can answer?
Alan, I think we got it. Thank you so much. Let's give him a big hand, folks.
Thank you very much.
I am very privileged to work with these people. When I moved into the regional assignment, it was great because I'm dealing with people who are teaching me a lot, okay? And I'm with a group of 4 people, and I hate to talk about Aries, that actually is trying to bring the state together. It used to be just district to district, and we're trying to work the whole state. And I believe it or not, it's just amazing the technology and the intelligence that's out there that I'm working with. It's overwhelming to me. So guys like Alan and Jim Gunderson and Randy and Ben Baker, they're just amazing people to work with. And they're a lot smarter than me, but I'm learning. So I do appreciate that. Anybody's interested in joining Aries, you see that the ham radio is not dead. These guys have done an awful lot, especially in Boulder. And unfortunately, they've had fires and floods and all kinds of stuff, which is not a good thing, but they rose to the occasion. And you have a question, my friend.
Looking at what we just saw for Boulder County, how would you compare Larimer County as far as preparedness and the ability to provide those same types of features?
Well, we're all kind of working together. So I'm going to say, yes, we have the same, we don't have the same local capability, but I can call Alan and get him up here in an hour. So that's what I'm saying. We're trying to build the whole thing together, especially Region 1, which is my control, which goes down to Arvada and all over, all Weldon, Larimer, and this and that. So yeah, I would say that we have almost the same capability, just not local. So good question, though.
If I could interject just for the gentleman who asked the question, we have four assigned to Aries that they own, and then mine, and others are building their own as well. So today, if there was a situation in Larimer County, Weld County, and it was isolated and we didn't need the technology in Boulder County, because that's our first obligation, of course, we can deploy with 4 cameras, 4 mobile units, and our video repeater and my tower, and basically deploy within a couple of hours and provide video situational awareness for the incident that you're trying to address, as long as the majority of that is line of sight communication capability. Just throw that out.
During the fire, the guy sitting in back of you, Mr. Mike Ring, went down to help him out. So we're all one happy family, at least we're trying to make it that way, and I think we're having, I'm amazed at the cooperation we're getting from all the state. It's just, I was afraid when we got into this thing that we're going to have all kinds of bad things happen and people saying, well, we aren't going to do that, and it's just totally opposite of what I thought it is. Everybody's really energized about this. Like I said, if you want to join Aries, talk to Jim Dixon, talk to me, I'll get you set up. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Since we still have Alan here, I'll step up to the microphone. He raises a good point about backup power. And Alan, I think you're still on. That radio site you're looking at, I'm assuming, is the Arapahoe Tower. And it is on the same emergency fuel delivery system that you talked about, such that that backup generator can essentially, we keep a week of fuel up there, and it can be in-flight refueling. That's a really good thing. But what do we do for NCARC with our repeaters on Horsetooth, Buckhorn? We don't necessarily have backup generators up there. We could bring one, but we do have a lot of battery power. And one of the things that Alan pointed out is the repeaters, 100-watt repeaters, is a lot of power. His 5 gigahertz microwave is just a little bit of power. How much power was he pulling on that digital TV setup? Less than an amp. Our 300 amp hour batteries are, some sites, I think we even have as much as 600 amp hours. It can run a very long time. Our microwave backbone that we sometimes call the RM Ham backbone, but that was who started it. Who's a major partner in it now? Our club. That can run for days on battery power. But what we have to do is shed some of our voice repeaters that take 10 amps so that we can keep the microwave that takes less than an amp. So that's what we do up here. I don't know if Alan is really utilizing some of the access points that we have. So we have point-to-point links for the mountains, but we also have not really public access points, but for critical users we can access. NCARC, I think, supports 4 of those. We have 2 down further south. We can take a very low-power television, send it on 5 gigs up, and backbone it to another site. We have that up here. As we merge these technologies, as Joe points out, we're all in this together. We're going to take their chocolate and put it with our peanut butter, and those Reese's are pretty tasty. And we're building a Reese's. No, but that's the power of cheese.
This presentation was brought to you by the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club. For more information, visit our website, ncarc.net. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.